Did you remember that arc that I was like making videos talking about, the whole stabbing situation?
Yeah, I remember that thing. I'll probably never be able to like forget it because it was a big event on campus when it happened. Also for other reasons too. I wish it didn't happen while I was still at school.
One part that makes me upset about it specifically, and I'm just speaking from a personal perspective, I'm extremely disappointed because from what I understand, and again, I am no longer on campus. I have a lot of people who are still on campus, some of which I trust a fair bit, who fed me some of this information. But my opinion on the situation is that this was a revenge stabbing for some things that the person who got stabbed did, but wasn't punished for because there was no evidence against him. And I am extremely frustrated because the guy who got stabbed, I've been telling him for like the longest times to change how he views and approaches women and all of that stuff. And he would refuse to take my advice, but then he kept on asking me for advice.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Know who the victim was now?
Yeah. And he reached out to me as well.
I think he revealed himself to me like day one.
Yeah, it's crazy. I heard that he was running around campus trying to make sure everyone knew it was him so that he could get sympathy or whatever. But like, I mean, I support him in his like current court case because, again, from all that I can gather and understand, he was not actually attacking her. But the thing is, this all could have been avoided if he wasn't being kind of creepy and, freaking girls out on campus. Like being grossly inappropriate. And it's tough too, because I do think that, justice should be served with the stabbing, but also like all of the things that led up to the stabbing were things that could have been easily avoided if he took my advice and stopped approaching women in the way that he does and stopped viewing them in the way that he does. And that just makes me upset. I've talked to this dude like 2 years while we both were on campus, and he did not take any of my advice.
Hey, look, you're not the only one who's talked to this guy for like 2 years.
That's true.
More, or 3 years in my case, since I was there a year longer than you.
Yeah.
Although I didn't talk with him too much after you left and the others graduated. We didn't hang out too much then, which might be a problem considering what happened, but it's not my fault, though, that he got himself in this situation.
Yeah.
It's his fault for getting himself in this situation because he practiced bad advice about women.
That's true.
Forbin gave him some good advice, even though you and I know that Forbin isn't necessarily a person you would go for relationship advice to.
Unless you want to see the negative side of things. I mean, I don't think that he's given outright bad advice. He's just extremely black-pilled.
Forbin gave him good advice.
Okay.
Aragorn gave him great advice. Multiple times. Multiple hours at a time. Late into the night. Past when anyone was sane. I'm pretty sure even Snake Boy even talked to him a few times and gave him some advice.
And it's a sad thing too, because like in DMs with like Cedarville Interpreter and See You Exposed, who I'm somewhat friendly with both of them, although
you mean See You Uncensored?
Oh yes, also See You Exposed. Although See You Exposed has called me an unsafe person before.
Ooh.
Typical snowflake behavior.
That's an ouch.
Like a lot of the rhetoric that was coming from those accounts or whatever is like, this dude's never holding any accountability. He's not facing any like backlash or criticism. Like, I think people don't understand how much behind the scenes this dude was getting criticized for his behavior. It's not like people were giving him a free pass or whatever, just because he had some connections to some like Cedarville donor. Like I think most of us didn't even know that until people were complaining about that in like YouTube comment sections. Like I didn't know that. The people around him were calling him out on his behavior. He was not getting a pass from the people who were around him. He was constantly facing criticism from people in his hall about his behavior. So I don't like the narrative that people were just treating him with favor just because, he was the kid of some rich, important dude. Like I understand if like you're going to levy that claim against the university. Although from all of my sources, from everything that I've heard, it's not true that he was being treated with favoritism. It's just that there wasn't enough proof against him. But
I mean,
it's not like people were just giving him a free pass in his behavior. They were treating him just like a normal dude, and I'm admonishing him, and rightfully so.
Even he had friends. Like, he made friends. He did stuff on campus that was fun. Like, he lived somewhat normal. Somewhat normal, because the other part was all the weird, creepy stuff he did that he shouldn't have done. The only reason why he got in this situation, and probably why the university was like, bro, why?
Yeah. People publicly on Instagram were like, oh, like, why hasn't the university done this to him, done that to him? Like, bro, you don't know the conversations that this dude has had with administration and how much he pushed back on certain things. Like, just not to be extremely specific. I don't know if he'd want that to be public, but
when I met him when he first came into college, he would not wear pants. He always wore shorts, even though it's against the rule to wear shorts to class in chapel. There were other people, like his old roommate they never really got along with well, that also didn't wear shorts. And even a few years later, when I still saw him around campus, he was always wearing shorts. That guy never changed. To be fair, though, he was always
in more ways than what?